The world you see before you is but a shadow cast by the assumptions you hold within. Reality bends not to effort, but to the effortless knowing that what is desired is already yours. There is no need to chase, no need to beg, only the quiet certainty that what you have claimed in consciousness must materialize. One who understands the great secret does not wait for evidence. They do not seek proof in the external world. Instead, they assume the feeling of already possessing what they desire, for they know that assumption held persistently hardens into fact. What you assume to be true in your mind will eventually manifest in your external world. Every event, circumstance, and experience that unfolds in your life is the direct result of what you have accepted as real within your own consciousness. The external world is not separate from you, nor is it dictated by forces beyond your control. Instead, it is merely a reflection of the assumptions you hold, a mirror that faithfully projects back to you the state of mind you consistently dwell in. Most people believe that reality is fixed, something to be navigated and responded to as it unfolds. They react to what they see, allowing their emotions and beliefs to be shaped by external circumstances. But those who understand the true nature of creation recognize that the outer world is nothing more than a shadow cast by the inner world. The beliefs you entertain, the thoughts you repeat, and the feelings you nurture all create the conditions of your life. What you assume to be true with conviction and persistence must eventually materialize in physical form. There is no force working against you except the doubts you entertain. The moment you accept a new reality in your mind, the unseen forces of creation begin to move, orchestrating the necessary changes to bring that assumption into physical experience. But if you constantly shift between belief and doubt, between faith and fear, you delay the process. Manifestation is not about struggling, effort, or force. It is about unwavering conviction in the unseen. The assumption alone is enough, for assumption is creation. The mind does not differentiate between what is real and what is imagined. It simply accepts whatever is impressed upon it with repetition and emotion. If you constantly affirm lack, worry about finances, and dwell on the idea that abundance is out of reach, your subconscious will faithfully reproduce those circumstances in your life. But the moment you adopt the assumption that you are already in possession of wealth, that money flows to you effortlessly and in abundance, reality must conform to that belief. You need not know how or when it will happen. You must only persist in the knowing that it is already so. A person who has fully assumed a new state of being does not waver. They do not look for signs or question when their manifestation will appear, for they understand that physical reality is simply a lagging reflection of an internal shift. The outer world takes time to catch up with the inner change, but the outcome is inevitable. Just as a seed once planted must take root and grow before it becomes visible above the soil, your assumption must be nurtured with patience and confidence. If you desire to manifest $68 million, the first step is to assume without hesitation that you are already in possession of it. This assumption must not be weak or half-hearted, but must be held with the absolute conviction that it is already a fact. You do not question whether the air you breathe exists. You simply live in the awareness of its presence. In the same way, your assumption of wealth must become so natural and certain that you no longer entertain the idea of lack. Once this assumption is firmly embedded in your consciousness, everything in your world will begin to shift to align with it. You will find yourself drawn to opportunities, ideas, and actions that reflect your new state of being. People, circumstances, and events will rearrange themselves to support the reality you have accepted. This is not coincidence or luck. It is the law in motion. The world must mirror back to you the assumptions you hold most deeply. Many fail to manifest their desires because they allow external circumstances to dictate their beliefs. They look at their bank account, their job, or their current situation and conclude that wealth is out of reach. But this is the mistake that keeps them trapped. The key is to ignore the evidence of the senses and trust in the unseen reality that you have claimed as yours. When you fully assume a state, you do not need physical proof to validate it because you already know it to be true. There is no need to struggle, chase, or force things to happen. The moment you make the decision to accept wealth as your reality, the process is already underway. The only requirement is persistence, remaining faithful to the assumption regardless of what the outer world temporarily reflects. If you hold firm in your conviction, reality has no choice but to conform. What you assume, you become. What you claim, you receive. The world is only responding to you. Merely saying the words is not enough. You must feel the reality of already having what you desire. Words alone, spoken without conviction, are empty and powerless. It is the feeling behind them that impresses the subconscious mind, and it is the subconscious mind that brings forth the conditions of your life. Every manifestation is born from a state of being, and that state is determined by what you feel to be true. Feeling is not secondary to the process. It is the process itself. It is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, between imagination and reality. Most people attempt to manifest through repetition of words alone, believing that if they say something often enough, it will come to pass. But the secret is not in the words, it is in the state of consciousness they evoke. A person may affirm wealth while inwardly feeling lack, and in doing so they create more of the very lack they wish to escape. The subconscious mind does not respond to empty declarations. It responds to deeply felt truths. If you wish to manifest $68 million, you must not only speak of wealth, you must feel wealthy. You must move through the world as one who already possesses great abundance. For it is only when you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled that it takes shape in your external world. The law is exact, unfailing, and impartial. It does not grant desires based on effort or struggle, but on alignment with the state in which the desire is already a reality. The moment you shift into the feeling of having what you want, you have taken possession of it in the unseen. That feeling then hardens into fact, unfolding in ways you cannot predict through means you cannot foresee. The process is not one of force or control, but of surrendering to the experience of already being that which you seek. Many fail to manifest because they do not understand the power of feeling. They attempt to visualize without emotion, repeat affirmations without belief, and take action from a place of doubt. But it is not the act of visualizing that manifests. It is the feeling of being immersed in the reality you have created in your mind. It is not the words spoken, but the emotional charge behind them. The feeling of wealth must become so real, so natural, that your subconscious accepts it as fact. And once it does, the world has no choice but to conform. The greatest secret of creation is that you must embody your desire before it appears. It is not enough to want, you must already be. A person who has truly assumed a new state does not seek confirmation from the outside world. They do not look to their bank account for reassurance, nor do they wait for signs to believe in their wealth. Instead, they walk in the certainty that what they have claimed in feeling is already theirs. They live in the end, fully convinced that what they have imagined is as real as the ground beneath their feet. To feel is to receive. The instant you generate the feeling of possessing what you desire, the unseen forces begin to move, rearranging the world to align with your new state. The path to your manifestation is not something you must figure out. It is revealed effortlessly as you persist in the feeling of already having it. This is why effort, struggle, and force are unnecessary. The work is not in the external world, but in the internal shift. When you become the thing you seek, it must find you. There is no need to ask how it will happen, for that is not your concern. Your only task is to maintain the feeling, to dwell in the certainty that it is done. This is the discipline required, the ability to remain faithful to the unseen, even when the world reflects the opposite. Most people waver because they allow external circumstances to dictate their emotions. They feel wealthy when money appears and feel lack when it is absent. But true mastery is the ability to sustain the feeling of abundance regardless of appearances. For once the feeling is maintained long enough, appearances must change. Every desire you have is already yours in the infinite realm of creation. The only reason it has not yet appeared in your world is that you have not yet assumed the feeling of already possessing it. Shift into that feeling now, and the process is set in motion. The outer world must obey the inner world, for it is nothing more than a projection of your state of being. You do not need to wait, beg, or struggle. You need only to feel, and what you feel to be true will become your reality. Repeating the three words with conviction imprints the subconscious mind, which then shapes reality to match your belief. The mind is a fertile ground where whatever is impressed upon it with feeling and repetition takes root and grows into physical experience. The conscious mind, the part that analyzes, questions, and observes, may try to resist new beliefs, but the subconscious mind accepts whatever is persistently impressed upon it. Through repetition, the conscious mind's resistance weakens, and the subconscious mind accepts the new reality as fact. Once the subconscious accepts an idea, it works tirelessly to externalize it in the world. Every great change, every great manifestation begins with an idea repeated until it is felt as true. It is not the occasional thought or the sporadic wish that shapes your life, but the steady, persistent repetition of a belief, reinforced by feeling, that transforms your reality. Just as a drop of water falling continuously upon a rock will eventually carve its way through, so too will a thought repeated with conviction reshape your subconscious and in turn your external world. Repetition is not merely about saying the words over and over without meaning. If spoken without belief, without the accompanying feeling of truth, words are empty. But when the words are repeated with certainty, as if declaring something that already exists, they carry power. The subconscious does not distinguish between what is real and what is imagined. It only knows what is consistently impressed upon it. If, through repetition, you affirm that you are wealthy, that money flows effortlessly to you, and that abundance is your natural state, your subconscious mind must accept it as reality. Once it does, the outer world will reflect that assumption. Doubt and fear cannot persist in a mind that is consistently filled with the truth of its desired reality. Many people allow their past experiences and present circumstances to dictate what they believe is possible. They look at their current situation, see lack, and reinforce that lack by constantly affirming it through their words and thoughts. But reality does not change by acknowledging what already is. It changes by persistently affirming what will be, as if it already exists. When you continuously declare your wealth, your success, your abundance, the mind has no choice but to accept it. And once it does, it must be reflected in the world around you. The key is persistence. Some people repeat their affirmations for a few days, then look around for evidence. If they do not see immediate changes, they fall back into doubt and disbelief. But manifestation is not instant gratification. It is the steady unfolding of an assumed reality. Just as a seed does not sprout the moment it is planted, your desires require time to take root in your subconscious and express themselves in the physical world. The impatient mind seeks proof before believing, but the wise mind believes first, knowing that proof must follow. Repetition is the method by which belief is cultivated. It is how an idea moves from being a fleeting thought to a deeply ingrained certainty. When you affirm something with conviction over and over, it becomes second nature. Just as a person who has practiced a skill long enough no longer has to think about it, one who has repeated a truth with enough persistence no longer questions it. They simply know. This knowing is the state that manifests. The outer world is always a reflection of your dominant state of consciousness, and repetition is the tool that solidifies that state. Many allow their minds to wander, to be influenced by external events and old conditioning. They affirm wealth one moment, but then allow fear and doubt to creep in the next. This wavering delays manifestation. But the mind that is disciplined in repetition remains firm. It does not allow distractions to shake its foundation. It stands unwavering in its assumption, knowing that reality must conform. The process is not one of struggle, but of steady, confident reinforcement. By repeating the three words with absolute certainty, you are not simply saying them, you are programming your subconscious with a new truth. That truth then becomes your dominant belief, and once something is believed, it is inevitable. The subconscious mind, once it has accepted an idea, begins to shape your actions, your thoughts, and your perception in alignment with that idea. You begin to notice opportunities you would have otherwise overlooked. You begin to feel and act in ways that are congruent with the reality you have claimed. And as you continue to affirm your new state, it solidifies into your external world. There is no need to question when or how the manifestation will occur. Your only task is to persist in the repetition until your subconscious has fully accepted it. The moment it does, the unseen forces begin moving on your behalf. The world reshapes itself around your assumption. People and events align to match your belief, and the reality you once only spoke of becomes the reality you now live. Do not be swayed by what your senses show you. The outer world is only a reflection of past thoughts and assumptions. Everything you currently see, experience, and interact with is simply the materialization of what you once believed to be true. If you accept the evidence of your senses as unchangeable reality, you remain trapped within its limitations. But if you understand that physical reality is fluid, shaped by the contents of your mind, then you gain the power to transform it. The key is to ignore the present circumstances when they contradict your desired state, and instead persist in the assumption of the reality you wish to experience. Most people live reactively, allowing external events to dictate their beliefs, emotions, and expectations. If they see wealth, they believe in abundance. If they see lack, they accept scarcity as their truth. But this is the very cycle that keeps them bound to the same experiences. The moment you give more power to what your senses report than to what you desire, you reinforce your current reality and make it more difficult to change. The mind must be disciplined to look beyond appearances and hold steadfast to the unseen reality that is being formed through assumption and faith. Physical reality operates with a delay. What you experience today is the result of past thoughts and beliefs, meaning that if you react to what you see, you are merely perpetuating an old creation. If you want to manifest $68 million, you cannot afford to let your current financial state dictate your belief. You must assume wealth now, even if the world around you reflects the opposite. The reality you see today is nothing more than a temporary shadow of old assumptions, and just as a shadow changes when the light source moves, your external world will shift as soon as your internal state does. Your senses were never meant to guide creation, they were meant to confirm what you have already created. The moment you decide that something is true in your mind and persist in that assumption, your senses will eventually catch up. But if you wait for external validation before believing in your manifestation, you will never achieve it. You must first believe it internally without needing proof, for proof only comes after belief. This is the law by which reality unfolds. Ignoring the present reality does not mean denying its existence. It means refusing to let it dictate your future. It means seeing beyond the immediate, knowing that what is now will soon be replaced by what is assumed to be true. If you are currently in financial struggle, acknowledging that struggle as permanent only deepens it. But if you acknowledge that your present situation is merely the result of past thoughts, and that a new reality is already forming, then you have the power to shift into that new state. Doubt and fear thrive when you give too much attention to the outer world. If you constantly check your bank account, look for signs, or base your belief on external validation, you are reinforcing the idea that you do not yet have what you desire. But the person who masters manifestation understands that the world must eventually conform to their inner conviction. They do not need immediate confirmation because they know that physical reality takes time to catch up with the new state they have assumed. To ignore the present reality is to maintain faith in the unseen. It is to walk through life with the quiet confidence that your assumption will solidify into fact. It is to act, think, and feel from the perspective of one who already has what they desire, regardless of what is currently visible. Those who have manifested great wealth, success, and abundance did not wait for proof before believing. They believed first, and proof followed. They did not allow their senses to convince them otherwise, for they knew that the senses only reflect past creation. Most people sabotage their manifestations by constantly looking for results. They affirm their wealth, but then check their finances and feel disappointed. They visualize success, but then look at their current circumstances and feel doubt. This back and forth weakens the assumption and delays the manifestation. The key is unwavering persistence. holding to your inner conviction no matter what the outer world shows you. The moment you fully accept that your new reality is already yours, without needing proof, is the moment it begins to materialize. It is easy to believe in something when the evidence is there, but true mastery lies in believing before the evidence appears. This is why ignoring the present reality is essential. It allows you to remain steady in your assumption, unshaken by temporary contradictions. When you truly understand that what you assume must become real, you no longer react to what is currently visible. Instead, you remain fixed in the belief that what you have claimed in your mind is already yours. And because the external world must obey the internal state, it will inevitably conform. Reality is not something happening to you, it is something responding to you. If you do not like what you see, change what you assume to be true and persist in that assumption until it solidifies. The world has no choice but to reflect your inner state. What you believe with unwavering certainty must become your experience. What you assume as real in your imagination must become real in your world. The only requirement is that you ignore what is and remain faithful to what will be. Faith is not about hoping something will happen. It is about knowing it already has. There is no room for doubt in the mind of one who has truly assumed their desire. Doubt only arises when a person still sees their wish as separate from themselves, as something they must attain rather than something they already possess. But manifestation does not work this way. The moment you desire something, it already exists in the unseen. The only thing that determines whether it appears in your physical world is whether you fully accept it as already yours. Most people waver between belief and disbelief, shifting between faith and doubt based on external circumstances. If they see a sign that their manifestation is coming, they feel hopeful. If they see nothing, they become discouraged. This back and forth delays the realization of their desire because it signals to the subconscious mind that they do not truly believe in its inevitability. But one who has real faith does not look for proof. They know the proof will come. They do not ask when or how it will happen. They know it is already done. They walk through life in the full conviction that what they have assumed will inevitably manifest. Faith is the bridge between the unseen and the seen. It is the certainty that what you have declared as true in your mind must externalize in your world. There is no effort required, no struggle, no forcing of circumstances. The moment you step into faith, creation is complete. The manifestation is only a matter of time, and time is irrelevant to the one who knows. They do not wait anxiously for results. They simply live as though it is already theirs. The mistake most people make is allowing the outer world to dictate their inner conviction. They check for signs, analyze their circumstances, and adjust their beliefs based on what they see. But this is the exact opposite of how creation works. Your external world does not shape your inner world. Your inner world shapes your external world. The instant you claim something as yours and believe it fully, reality has no choice but to align with that belief. This is why faith must be unwavering. If you believe in your wealth, your success, your abundance only when things seem to be improving, then you do not truly believe. True faith remains unshaken, regardless of appearances. Even when the world gives no indication that your desire is coming, even when everything seems to be going in the opposite direction, the one who understands the law stands firm. They do not allow temporary circumstances to shake their certainty because they know circumstances are only the effects of past assumptions. They persist in their new assumption, knowing it must become reality. Most people give up too soon. They plant the seed of their desire, but instead of trusting that it will grow, they keep digging it up to check if anything is happening. This doubt disrupts the process. The subconscious mind only responds to what is accepted as true. And when a person oscillates between belief and disbelief, they send mixed signals. One day they affirm their wealth, the next day they fear lack. One day they feel successful, the next day they question if it will ever happen. This inconsistency weakens the manifestation. Faith is not something that requires proof. It creates proof. Those who master manifestation do not wait for the world to show them evidence before they believe. They decide what is true for them, assume it fully, and let the world adjust accordingly. They understand that their assumptions are what dictate reality, not the other way around. When they claim something as theirs, they hold on to that claim with absolute certainty, refusing to entertain any contradictory thoughts. Faith is not passive, it is active. It requires a disciplined mind, a refusal to let doubts take root, and an unwavering commitment to the assumption of the wish fulfilled. It means shutting out any thoughts that contradict your desire and maintaining the inner feeling of already possessing it. The more you persist in this feeling, the faster your reality shifts. Those who truly understand this do not worry about the how or when of manifestation. They know that the moment they assume something to be true, the path to its realization is already set in motion. They do not need to force it into being or manipulate circumstances. They simply rest in the knowing that it is done. And because they know, reality must comply. Faith is the ultimate power. It does not negotiate with doubt, it does not seek validation, and it does not waver. It is the unshakable certainty that what you have claimed in your mind must become your experience. When you embody this level of faith, you become the master of your reality, and anything you desire is within your reach. Gratitude is the seal that locks your manifestation into place. It is the final step that shifts your state from one of wanting to one of already having. When you give thanks for something, you are acknowledging its presence, confirming to your subconscious mind that it is real and already yours. This is the key difference between those who struggle to manifest and those who manifest effortlessly. One continues to seek, while the other has already received. Many people approach manifestation with a sense of lack, constantly looking for signs and evidence, hoping that their desire will arrive, but the very act of hoping implies that it is not yet theirs, and so they remain stuck in a cycle of waiting. The moment you give thanks, however, you declare to yourself and to the universe that what you desire has already come to pass. You no longer ask, you no longer seek, you simply know. And because you know, reality must reflect that knowing. Gratitude is not a passive emotion, it is an active state of being. It is the conscious decision to feel as though your desire has already materialized, to act as if you are already living in the fulfillment of your wish. When you express gratitude, you align yourself with the energy of having, and in doing so, you attract more of what you are grateful for. This is why those who live in a state of constant appreciation seem to attract abundance effortlessly, because their gratitude confirms to the subconscious mind that abundance is already theirs. Most people wait until they see results before they express gratitude. But this is a fundamental misunderstanding of how creation works. If you wait for something to appear before you feel grateful, you are allowing the external world to dictate your state of being. But if you cultivate gratitude in advance, you dictate the external world. The secret is to feel thankful for your desire as if it has already been fulfilled, even when there is no physical evidence of its arrival. This is the act of assuming the state of the wish fulfilled, and it is the final step in bringing it into reality. When you give thanks, you shift your mind from desire to fulfillment. You are no longer a person who is waiting for wealth, you are a person who already has wealth. This shift is subtle but powerful, for the subconscious mind responds not to empty words but to deeply felt states of being. If you affirm that you are wealthy but feel as though you are lacking, your subconscious picks up on the feeling rather than the words. But if you give thanks for your wealth with genuine appreciation, your subconscious mind accepts that wealth as a present reality, and once it accepts it, the external world must follow. Gratitude dissolves resistance. When people manifest from a place of desperation, they introduce resistance, because their focus is on what they lack. They try too hard, they analyze too much, and they let doubt creep in. But gratitude eliminates all of this. It removes the need to force, to worry, to question. It places you in a state of ease and trust, knowing that your desire is already yours. A grateful mind is a receiving mind. It does not block, it does not resist, it simply accepts. To practice gratitude effectively, you must not only say the words but feel them deeply. Saying thank you without emotion is empty. But truly feeling the gratitude, as though you are already living in the reality you desire, is what makes it powerful. Imagine yourself already in possession of your $68 million. Imagine how it feels, how your life has changed, how free and abundant you are. Now give thanks from that place, not as someone who is hoping to receive, but as someone who already has. This is the secret. Gratitude also reinforces belief. The more you express thanks for your manifested desire, the more real it becomes to you. What once felt like an impossible dream now feels natural and inevitable. This is why successful manifestors do not spend their time doubting or second-guessing. They have already received in their minds and they live from that place of certainty. They give thanks in advance, and because they do, their reality aligns accordingly. Many people struggle with faith because they feel they need proof before they can believe. But gratitude circumvents this need for proof. It allows you to move straight into the feeling of already having, and once you feel it as real, it must become real. The world is simply a mirror reflecting your inner state, and gratitude ensures that your state remains one of abundance, certainty, and fulfillment. Gratitude is not just a final step, it is a way of being. Those who live in gratitude do not need to chase or struggle. They have mastered the art of receiving, knowing that everything they desire is already theirs. They walk through life with a quiet confidence, never doubting, never fearing, because they have already claimed what is theirs. This is the power of gratitude. It transforms you from a seeker into a receiver, from a dreamer into one who already has. And once you step into that state, the world has no choice but to deliver.